You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.
I don't even know what's going on. Oh my god. Are you guys kidding me?
So you say I'm good. So you say I'm good. I'm gonna keep talking.
Testing 1, 2. Anybody got to go to the restroom? You don't have to go that way. You can go around. Yeah, it's if you at the Tipping Point Morning Show on YouTube, then you'll find the live stream there as well.
Oh, okay.
Be able to find the page and then click the live stream. But it is, I know John shared it on his page. I probably need to go ahead and share it. And yeah, everybody go ahead and share it to your respective pages. Let me see if I go to, the Tipping Point Morning Show is live on there on Facebook too. So you can click the live right there.
Oh, yeah.
I know y'all hearing us out there in internet land. We're doing some testing. We're trying to make sure everything's tight work. So give us a few.
Yeah, it's on the
I mean, yeah, that's good.
Bring him out.
Okay, we got Pierre in the house. All right. Got Diego in the house. What's up, Diego? Pierre?
Hold on, fellas. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you guys doing?
All right. So we don't have Mishan.
He's there, or he's around. He got some honeydew that he on right now.
Is the green screen gonna have the image up while we're live, or is it gonna be green, or would you be able to see it?
I guess he's just using it right now to create a background.
So it's going to create you a background screen now. But when you guys go, you do like post production, there in the background, so you can put your logo in there.
Yeah, Tipping Point Morning Show right now.
We got, let's see, Dr. Leroy there as well. I want to kind of give an intro to everybody. Dr. Leroy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
All good. We're going to see each other here soon. No worries. Let's see. I did a bio Friday.
Maybe you can go on out.
I'll get you one.
There you go. Thank you.
Who's that? Who's 3K chaotic?
That's
Okay.
so you can watch it.
Okay. That I've had before where people accidentally give the link for them to come in out to random people thinking that that's the link for them to view. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just for us to be able to listen in and everything sounds good.
DJ. Here you go. I got Leonard. I got Ari.
He's got you.
Almost ready.
No. Hold on. That's my friend.
Thank you.
Is it Joa?
Josh.
Josh.
Josh,
Oh, okay.
my bad.
Yeah, just like Josh. What's your last name?
Eddings, Eddings.
Names.
Probably know my dad. He's done a lot of radio shows and things like that. Wayman Eddings.
Oh yeah, Wayman.
Yeah.
That's your pops. Oh my God! What? We got Wayman's son in the building. Hey, the fruit don't fall far from the tree.
Let me tell him.
Now I get it. I get it because I know who his pops is.
Hey, believe it or not, man, a lot of the stuff that goes into what I've done with my story, my dad was apprehensive about the approach because, like I said, we in the troubled part of the West, and he's seeing me go about it in a way that's opposite to how he's approaching it. That's who his mind.
That is dope, bro. Like,
Wow.
because
I
I mean, bro.
What's your name
Yeah,
again? Soundgarden.
it's
You're
Wayman
good.
Eddings.
Soundgarden.
Man,
Small world.
So just to add
small Lou. Ever since I've been here, I said Lou's as big as my pinky finger, bro. And I
Yeah,
got big aim.
He had that divine connection, though. That's props to him for following through on that. I just moved him to Lexington a couple months back. Been handling some business.
That's what's up.
Be happy to know. And the link hopefully.
All right.
Oh, no.
Now, can you go ahead and mute these mics?
Yeah.
Because right now we're live right now, and Diego at? Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Yeah, he's look like he's having a device issue. But he'll go ahead and get in there. Testing 1 2, because everybody. Testing 1 2. Can y'all hear me? Testing 1 2. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Folks, we are starting up the show. Y'all know we have been, just working hard to bring you guys something special today. Just a good conversation. That's the whole point to what we're doing. We brought together strategically some awesome brothers and wanted to make sure that we had this conversation in the month of Father's Day. Month of Father's Day. Now, it's funny, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the month of Father's Day. Isn't this Pride Month too? They really, I think we're like number 10 on the list of celebrated holidays, 10 being towards the bottom. But, I even went to a movie screening this month as well, and they were collecting stuff for women at the movie screening in the month of Father's Day. All right, but not mad at it. Either way, we just want to bring this together right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show, little pop-up event. We're trying to get the show. I want the show back started again, but we're working on some things. It's coming. Hopefully, this will entice my brother from another mother, brother John Yah. He's working on a book and a whole lot of things, man. So we're just trying to get some things together today. What we're talking about is men. We're gonna be talking about what do we say? What is it to be a man in the world today? We kind of want to hit on some points. The heart of this conversation is kind of simple. The only thing that can truly stop you is you. That's the heart of this conversation. People have been made to feel like there's a ceiling over their lives, their income, their leadership, their purpose, and their future. So, with all of that, what if part of the ceiling is you? What if you're part of the reason why you have a ceiling? What if sometimes we created ourselves through fear, excuses, doubt, lack of discipline, a lack of exposure, or just believing in the wrong voice? The discussion is not about denying real challenges. We understand that. It's about refusing to let those challenges have the final say. We're going to be talking about men who have surpassed the status quo, pushed beyond their starting point, rejected excuses, and created something greater for themselves, their families, and their community. We're going to be discussing personal accountability, fatherhood, legacy, work ethic, and opportunities instead of waiting for them. Financial responsibility, mentorship, and leadership. The state of men today in breaking self-imposed ceilings. And while this discussion centers on men, hey, we want everybody to chime in. Just want to let the internet world know out there that you can type comments and we'll see them and we can show them on screen. And hey, we'll talk about it. But right now, it's yours truly, Mr. Just Joe. I got my brother from another brother, John Yah, here as well. And we're going to go ahead and get the show started. Let's go ahead and take it to the intro and we'll start from
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yah. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.
I don't even know what's going on. Oh my god. Are you guys kidding me?
All right.
Good stuff here. Like I said, it's yours truly, Mr. Just Ask Joe. I got my brother from another mother,
Brother John Yah here as well, who is helping to host and sponsor the event. Bruh, how you doing?
I'm good, brother.
Good. How
Bring
you feel
back
being back?
memories, bring
Yeah.
back memories. So I definitely look forward to it. One of the things that I came up with during this whole month, I thought this would be a great topic. In dealing with capitalism and dealing with the ability to achieve greatness without any excuse. And right now, one of the things I wanted to stick it in this month because this is male mental health, right? And so you have a lot of, specifically in the statistics, you have a lot of suicide going on, specifically young men from 16 to 29. And the rate of suicide now has increased 50% since 2000. So something is going on here with a disconnect with the elders and the younger brothers, and I'm hoping that we can somehow play a role in bridging that little gap. That's why I invited this young brother here to understand, because he has a lot going on. Definitely want to get into what he's doing, but he's right. We create our own ceiling. We create our own demise to where it's based upon what we think and how we perceive ourselves to stop us from growing. So I think this is going to be a great discussion. I'm glad everyone came. Appreciate everyone that showed up, brothers that are online, and we're going to have a great talk.
Absolutely. I kind of, maybe I want to hit on, who we have here as guests, online and offline. I'll just do a quick review, unless we want to do a roundtable and everybody talk about themselves. They don't want to do it. I can just go ahead and do a quick review and just spit it out with everybody who is here. First and foremost, online, I'll start with the brothers there. We have a Leonard Walker. Leonard Walker is a medically retired U.S. Army Gulf veteran, 20-year logistics operation professional in the air charter industry, and a real estate investor and property owner with his own real estate company. He's also the former president of Descendants of American Slaves Incorporated, a husband of 25 years, a father of 2 sons, and a proud grandfather with a granddaughter on the way. Let's go ahead and bring them up on camera as well. Leonard brings real life experiences in service, leadership, family or ownership, and legacy. Exactly the kind of perspective this conversation needs. All right. Yeah, we can see some faces there. So Brother Leonard Walker, Diego Denson. Diego grew up in Harlem, New York City. Served 6 years in the U.S. military. I'm seeing a pattern so far. Military vets, and has been a serial entrepreneur since the age of 31. Earlier, when I was reading this, I was reading it slow, and I got the serial, and my heart jumped. But yeah, serial entrepreneur since the age of 31. He has lived in 4 countries, traveled to 38 countries, and today owns a cybersecurity company while also doing options day trading. Put that part in there, but we didn't. A bit about the brother. He brings experience in discipline, entrepreneurship, global perspective, ownership, and building beyond your starting point. Got a new brother that just recently met. His name is Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. Dr. McKenzie is the president and CEO of J&F Enterprises, LLC, a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm based in Baltimore, Maryland. He's an author, international speaker, Today he works as a treasury and liquidity strategy analyst, helping major financial institutions manage cash flow, liquidity risk, and financial stability. Pierre brings a strong perspective on test the 1, 2, do it this way, and pull some audio from right here. Pull the other 2 out. Y'all also still got music.
Yeah, I've been mentoring youth for about 3 years out of the West End of Louisville. One of my greatest passion. Second to my son, I'm also a new father. I got a 7-month-old son as of July 2nd at home that motivates me more than anything. And yeah, that's a little bit about me.
All right. Let's go ahead and we want to get the camera to follow, but let's go ahead and let my man Sean go ahead and give some information there about himself. Go ahead, sir.
I'm Sean Gardner, glad to be here. First, I want to say thank you to the veteran on the panel. Thank you for your service. Joshua, you're doing good work. And welcome to the club. It's fatherhood, Glad that many girl, boy. Is it girl?
Boy, yeah.
Boy, okay. That's gonna be a lot of fun too. So I got the boy daughter, right? It's gonna be a lot of fun when he turns 16. Just to wait to that thing. You wait me soon. So that's a plus. As far as who I am, I've been born and raised here in Louisville, Kentucky. The founder of an organization that focused between youth and fathers. But I stepped down from that role previously. Now, so a new organization, Steady Growth Outdoors. The therapist, that's my new role. I'm transitioning life. Late in your life, and you do a career change. So now I'm a therapist. Looking forward to working with all, but specifically men and even more specifically Black boys and men, because I think we have unique struggles. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you, Joe and John, for the invite.
Absolutely. And you got a doctor in front of your name. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, I was interested about that journey. Is that I think once I got it, I realized I went back to school to become an education, become a therapist, And I think something I realized a lot of times we get an education, but we don't get that academic mentoring. So we get degrees that are good to have, but they don't necessarily put us where we want to be because we're not knowledgeable. Then we end up doing other things. So thank you for bringing it up. Yeah, I got a land grant, PhD from Major Land Grant University. So
absolutely, one of the most humble PhDs that I know, because he won't mention it. All right, brother Kari.
Kari Muhammad, owner, founder of Incredible Printing and Design, father of 4, husband. I just say I work with the will and been involved in a lot of working with a lot of organizations, programs, people, persons, and I don't have a organization of my own. I prefer to work with. So I listening to you all, see where I can step in possibly.
Absolutely. Brother Edward.
Edward Moore from Chicago, Illinois. My background is in finance and accounting. So I own my own accountancy. I got a small real estate portfolio. We own about 23 properties and some daycares and other stuff. As far as mentoring, like Brother Joshua across from me, I'm involved in the 100 Black Men of Louisville. I'm also a proud member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated, and we do some mentoring there as well. But glad to meet all you brothers and be a part of the discussion. Add whatever I can for you.
Awesome.
Absolutely. So, ultimately, we wanted to just bring this conversation and do a roundtable of questions and answers and things of that nature. So I kind of want to just kind of get into it. Do you have commercials prepped and ready at any point?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go ahead and hit up a couple commercials, and then we'll come back and we'll get right into the conversation.
Whoa, what died in here?
Relax, man. Give it a minute.
No way. I'm not living in this. Where's that incense? That's better.
For real? It smells good now?
Smell? Gone. Saya Baba saved the day.
Joe.
Put up that tipping point overlay.
Yeah, the thing plays over it.
I know, but after that.
You playing a commercial?
And I think that's very important that we don't dumb that down. get what I'm saying? Because that's what's missing in a lot of young men. It's masculinity and the ability to control their anger. You know, so what does that play and what does that look like in your life? And anyone can jump on in with that one, and anybody online can jump on in on that.
Fearlessness when confronting controversy. Um, my mentorship would be nothing. I've had to show men. We had a conversation about even your walk, your literal physical walk, saying a lot about you, not just to yourself, not just to the people you know, but even to the predators in the room, even to the people that seek to take your child or seek to do all type of things that just read you. If you don't teach from the smallest things as a walk and walking with strength and keeping your head held high, I feel that it all gets missed. You got to start at the small things, man. But yeah, masculinity, demonized but very necessary, I'd say.
You feel about it there, Sean?
Wow. So I definitely hear you on the term toxic in front of it, toxic masculinity. I think we gotta get to a place, and so many places I can go with this. So what is the definition? Like I think we gotta start there. Like, and when I say definition, a lot of times we enter into conversations. Like on what you said, as a man, what does it look like when you walk? As a man, you gotta be able to stand for something, right? Uh, that's got to be like a fundamental. You got to stand for something. You got to be able to stand up for yourself. Because if you can't do that, then you can't protect the people that you love. So I think those are, if nothing else, I've got to have those two in the equation. In terms of toxic masculinity, I go back to that because I've had that conversation so many times, and it's frustrating because without going into the whole lot of detail, if you go back and you look at the people who are coined with the term toxic masculinity, they don't necessarily embrace toxic masculinity. They don't necessarily embrace masculinity. So I think we got to be very clear on that, especially when we talk about definition. And then just one last piece I'll touch on in terms of the work that I do. You know, for 20 years I've worked with men in the community, all aspects of men. And now as I go into this venture of therapy, I sort of look at myself and I say, okay, what can I do to support men? And here's what I come to the conclusion of. I think sometimes as men, especially black men, we don't get the conversations that we need to have. So, for example, if we're talking about, sexuality, right? A lot of times we're demonized as men who just want to manipulate women and do this and that. But sometimes we don't talk about the men who are struggling emotionally and internally. And sometimes the thing that is supposed to bring you together, intimately and get you closer is just a regulation tool for you,
right? But we don't have those conversations. We don't have the conversations about what hurts us. We don't have the conversation about, for example, many of the men that I work with over the years who are fathers, who it wasn't that they weren't there, it was that their involvement and their contributions were invalidated. Like, we don't have those conversations. So for me, it's about allowing men to be in those spaces where we can have those conversations. A large part of it is being held responsible. I just don't think you can have a conversation as men without that ingredient being in there, holding each other accountable. And so, what does that look like? Camping. A lot of, my organization, Steady Growth Outdoors. A lot of what I'm going to do is outdoors. We got some thing on the event coming up. We're going to go to the gun range. We're going to go camping. A lot of men want to go camping, but they don't know how. So when those men have families, their families won't go because the men don't know how to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some men. I've done it before. Take some men. They're going to learn how to camp, and then it's going to be open for them to take their families. One last piece, I'm going to pass the mic. I was doing one of my trainings with fathers, and I brought it up about the camping, right? I brought it up about, hey, who wants to go camping? And women, women will jump on anything. I'll go because women love to learn, right? But men, there's something in us that says, I got to already know this, especially when it comes to guns. That's a whole other conversation. But the guy says, I want to go, but I'm scared of the animals. And so he's thinking coyotes, bears, even deer. He said, nah, man, I'm talking about squirrels, rabbits. Right. I did the same. I laughed. But I had to catch myself. Because here's the deal. Here's a guy who's finally been, and he laughed too. But I had to pass that because we laugh sometimes to hide other feelings. And I said, whoa, wait a minute, you've been real. Yeah. I said, well, my apologies. Because I laughed. And I kind of asked everyone else not to laugh. I said, this is probably one of the reasons men don't go. And we were able to nip that in the bud. And I believe he went with us. And I crossed his paths about a month or two ago, and he wants to do it again. So I'm excited about that. So with that question about manhood, I think if nothing else, at the core, we got to have a foundational definition of what it looks like.
Absolutely. Gonna let Kari take that as well, and then we'll get to the guys online and maybe ask them a different question. But Sean Gardner, I just want to say, man, this brother right here kept me going during COVID. he had some type of something where we dialed in, and it was like 8 o'clock in the morning. I think the premise behind it was keep people going, keep people moving. We're gonna start the same time we normally would at work, and we would have conversation. And we've never really talked about it, but I felt like that's kind of what you were trying to do. And it was people, you meet people online, and we all stuck in the house, but the ability to keep conversation going, just to keep your mind going, and really, you sitting in the house by yourself, dolo. Hey, it was great to be on there. So I definitely applaud you for that and outreach. Just the same. Kari?
Thank you.
So when we talk about masculinity, it's very general, or a lot of people have a different definition or a different perspective of what masculinity is. To a lot of people, you say masculinity and they think the tough guy, right? The guy that's, like he said, you don't fear anything, I step right into anything. So it's really a matter of perspective of what is masculinity. But the part that you asked that I want to touch on is, what is masculinity as far as what I do and personally. And like I said, I own a printing and design company. And so for me, I look at situations. He has an organization. And what we don't look at a lot of time, from my perspective as a man and a protector in my community, a lot of the things that are marketed to us, we don't have anything counter marketing. So Coca-Cola is really strong marketing. The music that we listen to has really strong marketing and really strong voice, right? But your organization, the voice is not as strong probably as those, right? So they bring in marketing specialists. They bring in people that actually design and build a system that makes sure that their product is going to be successful in whatever it is they want their product to be successful in. We don't bring in marketing specialists for our organization. We don't bring in people that do design and people that brand and do those types of things. So for me as a man, that's my vision and my perspective. As I said, I step in organizations and try to help them from that perspective as a man, as a protector, as a provider, because we don't have anything to counter the marketing plans that are out there to take over our families and our children.
Absolutely. Edward.
You know, when I had this masculine conversation as of late, and I'm talking the last couple of years, it's normally not even with men.
That's it.
It's normally with women who are filling masculine roles, and we're trying to de-escalate these women from being in those roles when some of them should be, to be honest, because there's been an absence of fathers in the home. We are Black men, socially irresponsible. We're trying to get it together. Some of us have gotten together, but we've left our women in homes to raise our men, our young men by themselves. So now we demonize women for being in masculine roles. We want to take them back. We don't know how. We need to work. We need to figure out how. And I think John was touching on it without saying it is, and maybe you two guys as well, is when we're starting to think about these masculine roles, we think about all of those traditional roles that our dads and our granddads used to fill. We're the protector, we're the provider, we're the authoritarian in the house. But for decades, we've been out of the house. So for decades now, the single Black mom has been doing that. And now we want to reposition her and reposition ourselves. So I think with taking back that position of being the masculine role, we need to learn some vulnerability. We need to be, okay, we were scared of this. We didn't do this. We did bail on our family. But now we want to come back. Now we want to practice accountability. Now we want to show that we can be the strong man in the house. And it's going to take us convincing our single moms of this before they relinquish those roles. So when I'm thinking masculinity these days, I'm thinking showing women how responsible, accountable, and vulnerable we can be and how we can fit back into the family because we've been gone for so long. And I'm speaking in general because I know some of us have raised our kids and done right by our kids, and you're starting out with your son. But that happened to Black women, and now we want to take that back. But we have to be very strategic about taking it back because we were ghosts. Some of it is because of systemic racism. A lot of it is because we were just socially irresponsible. So I look at masculinity way different than I did 20, 30 years ago, for sure.
Let me say that, when we talk about masculinity, also, this is why I pointed about what you do, because one thing is that, see, masculinity is attached to your ego, very much so. And so what is the ego? The ego is the protection of self. When you say I, that's ego. When you say mine, that's ego. When you say this is my car, this is my business, you're talking ego, right? And so the ego, the masculinity is to protect that. My wife, my children, right? And if the man steps up his role in his masculinity, this is mine and I'm a protector, the woman will set back in her place as where she's supposed to be in her feminine role. That's the way it's to work because you can't have two masculines in the house at the same time, right? So one of them's going to have to relinquish because actually it's the man's role to protect and willing to give up his life for what he built. That's the masculinity that's attached to what you do. Everyone here has a purpose, right? Everyone has a purpose. Everyone wants a purpose, specifically men. We want purpose. If you don't have purpose, that becomes the problem with young men committing suicide because they don't see their way through life, right? So when you look at ego, people think ego is bad. No, ego is your protection mechanism. It's supposed to protect you. Let somebody put their hands on you and watch your ego flare up. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's the masculine role. It doesn't mean you are overbearing or you are, especially to your family, but masculinity is the only energy to protect. In fact, if it wasn't for masculine energy, That's the way men keep other men in check. Think about it. How do we keep another man in check? Is through your masculinity. If another man thinks you're weak, he makes you a victim. Right? But if he knows you will fight back, he knows you will attack back, you know what I'm saying? That is the ego, and there's this masculinity set in there. But I didn't want to, I want to definitely get to some of the brothers here on that discussion. But I just wanted to touch on that attached to what you do.
Absolutely. I definitely want to pull the brothers in online as well. So we want to pose another question. Or do y'all brothers, are y'all?
I would
hear.
I definitely would want to hear Pierre and
On the same thing.
on
Okay.
those subjects. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's start with brother Pierre. He's at the top there, and if you can unmute yourself.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Talk to us about what you feel as far as masculinity piece right there.
All right. Can you guys hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Okay. Yes.
All right. You can hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you, fellas. Yeah, we was having some audio issues earlier, so I actually missed the question as it was posed, but I assume that you guys are talking about masculinity, how to define that. I totally agree with John's perspective. I think that was awesome. There's really nothing else to really add to what he said. I think it was just, right. And then the panelist who was ahead of him with the black shirt, I forgot his name, but he had an awesome answer as well. So I totally agree with both of you fellas. I think that the whole issue here is purpose. All men have to have purpose. Purpose is like we're all searching for purpose, but the word is a little loaded, it's a little general. So that's where young men are probably having the issue, the disconnect of, okay, people telling me purpose, but how do I find it? How do I define, how do I know my purpose, right? So I think we need to be able to assist them more in identifying those those ideas of like what purpose is. Let's deal with it, and not only just talking theoretically but showing them as well. I think all of those are like really important, and this does tie into masculinity because it's important for men to have a purpose and to know their purpose, to have guidance, so knowing where you're going in life and having discipline. And so once you have purpose, all of your actions is tying back to that goal, that purpose that you have. So I would just keep it short since I know we have other guys that's going on as well. But like that's all I have to add to it. But thank you.
Right. So definitely next up, let's hear from Brother Leonard Walker. Brother Leonard, if you can unmute yourself and just give us your piece when it comes to that.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Like I said, very good conversation, very well spoken, and like I said, things that add. I like what John said, like what all of the brothers said. I'm gonna just keep it simple. A man is a provider, a protector, a procreator, and a problem solver. Okay, that has never changed, ever. What has changed is the environment around us. Okay, now before, like I said, when we look economically, for the longest time, we were, sole income in the household. We no longer live in a world where most people can survive, a household can survive off of one income. So now we have women, two incomes, more streams of incomes are needed. What I believe we have to do is we still have these roles, but we have to adjust instead of being, the sole leader in a house, we have to build a team. The marriage that I have with my wife, we move as a team. We are a team, we move as a team, plain and simple. So like I said, is we, have to have that team mentality. And as a team mentality, a leader, all right, one thing about leaders don't beg followers to follow. Leaders find more followers that will follow. So, like I said, is I know that we're kind of, and that's essentially a lot of the upheaval is we're expected to be the same things in an entirely different environment. So, what we have to figure out is how do we maintain what we are in the new environment? All right, going forward, with the changes and the adapt and what we have to adapt to in this new environment. And I'm gonna leave it there.
Awesome. Good stuff. Next up, we want to hear from another brother from another mother, brother Diego Denson. We could get some conversation from you, sir, on that topic. We'd absolutely appreciate it. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Give me a thumbs up if you can even hear me. Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Sir. I can hear you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I can't really hear you guys. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can.
Yeah, I think I'm having audio issues because I can't hear you guys.
Yep. We can hear you and you sound great. So I know that he's dealing with whatever Wi-Fi. And when he comes back, we can get some of that conversation from him. With that being said, then here, let's go ahead. Yeah, we want to go ahead and ask Brother Leroy. Brother Leroy, let's go ahead and get some of your commentary on that particular subject there, please, sir. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Hopefully you can hear me okay. And I'm gonna be the radical in the bunch, okay?
I saw you
And
shaking your head a little bit there, so you know.
yeah, I'm about to ruffle some feathers because these conversations on masculinity are way far beyond us as men being protectors and providers. And when you talk about manhood, it is not exclusive. Masculinity is not exclusive to providing and protecting. And when we talk about providing and protecting, even from the masculinity perspective, we want to act as if women do not protect. Yes, they do. They are responsible for protecting the relationship just as we are. They are responsible for providing in the relationship just as we are. So masculinity is more than being being a protector and provider from a physical standpoint, because from what I've heard from the brothers, that's all that they were talking about is from a physical standpoint, being a protector, being a provider from a financial perspective. That is more than manhood, is more than that. Manhood to me is your intelligence and your wisdom, your vision that you have, your leadership skill set that you have, your commitment that you have, your consistency that you have as a leader, as a man, your accountability. Are you accountable as a man? The protector and provider are responsibilities that we have, but that does not define us as men or masculinity, because what happens when you can't provide from a financial standpoint? Does that mean you're no longer a man? Does that mean you're no longer masculine? If you cannot protect from a physical standpoint, because not all men are able to protect. You have some men that have disabilities. They can't protect. Does that mean that he is not a man? Does that mean that he's not masculine? So we've got to get beyond these two terms that we define manhood in. I'm sorry, I get very excited when I hear men come in these conversations, and the only thing that we talk about is protecting and providing. And here's the third piece of that I rarely hear, and I didn't even hear it here, is producing. What are you producing as a man? That's masculinity. What are you producing? What's your legacy that you're leaving every single day? Those are the things that are masculine, make you a man, make you, that define you as in manhood. And we have to stop this this miseducation, what I call the miseducation of manhood. And we have to have these serious conversations beyond physical and financial protecting and providing as men. Because we got men out here, males out here every single day that don't protect in relationships. They don't protect their children. They don't protect their families. They don't protect themselves. And so we got to be mindful and careful of how we talk about this masculinity thing and who we are as men and what makes us as men and defines us as men. So I'll leave it there.
Hey, Joe, can you guys hear me? Yeah, unfortunately, working this StreamYard, I can't hear you guys at all. You got to come back to me. I'm going to drop and come back.
We'll give him just another minute. And
I can hear you guys now.
I can hear you guys now. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. All right. Fantastic. So go ahead and pose the question again, Brother John, if you don't mind. Oh, the question is about masculinity. How do you apply it to what you do in your business or what you do in your person?
So I've heard a couple of the brothers talk about masculinity. Am I echoing, by the way? Am I echoing, guys? Because I can't hear you guys. So I'll just talk because it keeps cutting in and out. But I'll say this: when it comes to masculinity, for me, I was one of the brothers that was, I think, like some men, I was fortunate to grow up with a father, and my father was, I would consider toxic masculinity to most people today. By modern definition, my dad was really a man's man. And what I have learned is that my father is, instead of defining it, he kind of put it on my brothers to be more of a person that demonstrate masculinity. So I would say in my day to day, I'm more of a demonstrator. I lead by example type guy. I heard my brother, Dr. Leroy, talking about people sometimes misuse and redefine things. I'll leave the definition to lots of other people, but what I will say is this. Um, I believe that what I don't see with a lot of men today is that they do not have someone actually grooming them properly. So I would say with me, I have to use that every day. I do lead quite a few people in what I do for a living, and also what I do outside of work. I help educate a lot of people on things as far as financial, freedom. And I know that a lot of men don't want to be defined just simply by being a provider, but unfortunately, in today's society, most people respect what they can actually see. So a lot of times I like to lead by example. So since we're short on time and I can't hear you guys, I'm going to step away and let you guys kind of chew on that and continue the conversation. And then I'm going to join back in.
And you know what I mean? We were having this conversation. People just work. You know, there wasn't an identity issue. And I feel that there's honestly things that have come into play to create an identity issue. And it's in the media. I think we all can agree that there's purposeful things that have happened to create identity. So let's jump on another question. But before we do that, let's go ahead and play a couple commercials from our sponsor, and we'll be right back, y'all. It is the Tipping Point Morning Show.
Where can I get it all back? Shaya Baba, we got that Shaya Baba, we got you Shaya Baba, we got that Shaya Baba, we got that Shaya Baba, we got that Shaya Baba, we got you Shaya Baba, we got that Shaya Baba, we got that.
Shot Baba, have a background to it, context to the name. Baba.
Baba.
Yeah.
Whoa, what died in here?
Relax, man. Give it a minute.
No way. I'm not living in this. Where's that incense? That's better.
For real? It smells good now?
Smell? Gone. Saya Baba saved the day.
Right, it's good. And Baba is in all languages, elder, father, wise man.
Gotcha.
All right. As we are back once again, folks, right here on the Tipping Point Morning Show. You know, this was a kind of a pop-up event we wanted to have and just create some conversation around it. I'm kind of curious, real quick, as Dr. Leroy speaks, because he's got a book out called The Power of a Man. And I'm kind of curious if, in fact, some of what he's talking about is in that book. And we'll get to that just a little bit later. But that's some good stuff there. If you ever check out his page, I think it's Dr. LJ Speaks. You can find him on different platforms, especially Instagram, Dr. LJ Speaks, and check out that book and such like that. I've got a few questions to ask. Maybe I'll throw one out, and then y'all will jump in on another one. I want to hear about upbringing, you know, and I'm gonna start right here to my right. Upbringing. What upbringing helped you, and what part did you have to overcome? What are things in your upbringing that you can point to and say, part of why I'm, you know, within the success or the man I am today, this right here is what helped me. And then what were some things that you had to overcome in order to get above that ceiling?
You know, that's a interesting question because unlike a lot of people in my neighborhood or any of my other friends, I grew up with both my parents in the house. With my mom and my dad. And even though my dad was my stepdad because my biological father was murdered when I was like 2 years old, there was a man in the house. And so I had a strong example of a working man, a man who was strong in his character, a person who I could follow. So I didn't have to idolize anyone outside of my household because I saw my parents do it for 50 years until my dad passed away. So in that regard, that's where a lot of the strength comes from. The flip side of that is I was raised on the south side of Chicago. I was somewhat protected because of my intelligence. I went to a gifted school, but on the weekends and the summer, I was back in the hood with everybody else. So of course we have the gang influence, the environmental influence. So So although I didn't have to overcome a lot of character issues because of my family, I did have to overcome a lot of environmental issues because you're encouraged, no matter what your background is, to join the gang, to do this. And the next day, my biological father asked
That's what we're trying to do. I'm trying to keep this mic
the
strong.
baby died.
That's it. That's it.
I was gonna get
It's there.
That's 50 years.
It's there. It was a delay. But yeah. Okay. So, I think when we pose these type of questions, then being able to kind of share a story, because I was actually curious as he spoke, because this is one of my guys, and known him for some years, and so I was kind of curious, as you deal with coming from a two-parent household where things are structured correctly, or as people would say,
we
correctly.
believe correct, yeah.
Yeah, as what we believe is correct, and then still involving ourselves in hood life. You know what I mean? I feel like it's part of our identity, maybe as Black people, right? Because I mean, I know I had two-parent household. I didn't have to go hang out in the streets, but that's just kind of what we did. But then you take somebody like, let's say Diego, for instance, and he grew up in Harlem, yet he didn't involve himself in the ways of the street, as just as somebody that I know and know a little bit about his story, and what he did do was dig his head into mentorship and learning stocks and things of that nature at a young age, and became a millionaire, I think, in his 20s off of the stock market. So it's interesting how we can make decisions to kind of bump our head and move in that direction nonetheless. I want to pose another question, and we'll hit the guys online with the question. John, go ahead and pull out another question that you may have.
One of the things that we discuss a lot amongst men is the value, right? The value of a man, and I think that's very important, because if you look at the value, is the value attached to what he brings to the table? And so, does it look like that that for what we're worth is based on what we can bring, right? You know what I'm saying? So the question becomes, what is that value look like? Some people, I hear these things where someone says 6 figures, 6 inches, and 6 feet tall. That is the measurement of what a value man is. So I wanted to hear y'all views on that issue there, just the value. What does that look like, and how do we define
Brother Sean.
Okay, so everyone, I love what I'm hearing, right? But there's a few things I gotta weigh on, and I'm gonna go to that. To Dr. Leroy, I definitely hear you. I think I'm in alignment with a lot of what you're saying, and I love how you made the distinction. I don't know if you realize that you said males when you were talking about men who or males who weren't doing what they were supposed to do. You identified them as males. I think that's strong because I often say there's a differentiation between males and men. Furthermore, I also believe in protective factors. I believe in physical protective factors, but you don't always have to fight. Sometimes you can't. You don't have that skill set, but you do have a way to fight. Let's be very clear. You got to be able to defend that family somehow. You got to be able to defend yourself somehow. So sometimes I think one of Dr. Leroy's one of his attributes was intelligence. There has to be something there, and the financial, which I'm going to come back to the question that you're asking, is that you definitely have to have a component where you're making some money. Ain't no cavalry coming to save us. But at the end of the day, when we talk about, what it means to be a man, if you ain't making no money, that's gonna be a problem. Because you don't, you gotta have provisions. At some point, you gotta provide for your family. At some point, you gotta provide for yourself. I'm getting to that table. Give me a second. Get to that table. The other piece to it, in that protective factor, I call it social emotion. I'm gonna come back to social emotion. I love that one. I got an example for that one. Spiritual and mental. I believe that you got to be strong in that area, especially when you talk about relationships. Because you hear a lot of women say, well, he's got to be strong in the word, and he's got to go to church every Sunday. No, you got to be able to lead. You might not go to church any Sunday, but if she comes home with whatever that preacher's talking about and you can deal with that, then you all right. You follow what I'm saying? And you can't let that preacher dictate what goes on in your home. Got to stand for something.
Because he ain't paying no bills.
Man, well, you taking money out your house, right? That's a whole other conversation. And I don't want, and just for the record, I'm not here dinging anyone who has a strong spiritual background. I'm just saying that sometimes as a man, we got to make sure we set the tone, the spiritual tone in our homes, right? That's right. And then the other one I want to go back to, social and emotional. If you're talking about in terms of relationships, right? And I think this is what Brother Dr. Leroy is suggesting here. Think that as men, somewhere in terms of relationships, we have to understand what it means to be able to be there for our women socially and emotionally. What I mean by that. So, as a young cat who didn't grow up with 50 years to be able to look to and say, man, that's what it looks like, right? I ain't get none of that. 10 years, mom died. 16, I was emancipated, marginally homeless up to that point. 18 years, got locked up to 2 years. So, when you talk about role models, non existent. So, when I think about that, it's like, if I'm with a woman, man, she takes some of my French fries. What you doing? You got your own French fries, right? Yeah. If I got a hood and you steal my, what are you doing with my? That's mine, right? No. See, because now it's like a little test these women are doing it. You don't even realize it. It ain't that they're doing it intentionally, but the reality is, can they feel safe with you? Now we're gonna go back to protect, right? It ain't up like Dr. Leroy said. It ain't necessarily about the physical, but it's gotta be something in you that says, okay, this sister, then I know, damn it, when I on my way home, I'm gonna call her. I'm gonna say, you want something? Give me something. You want something? She's gonna say no, but I done been there before. So what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna grab her something anyway. Then when I get there, even though I got her what she wants each and all time, guess what she does? She gets my damn food. Now, if you don't grow up with that 50-year seeing it play out, then you get on my food. That's crazy. Right? You may not know that because of all the trauma that you done went through as a man growing up. You got traumas, right? Ain't nobody taking nothing from you. Ain't nobody doing none of that. Man, I got you your food. Why can't you deal with that? All right. Now, and one thing, so Dr. Leroy, the one thing I think we may disagree on is this. We're really thinking about this. I do believe, and I stand on this, and I'm gonna read your book. I can't wait to read your book. That there's a strong component of physical. The day no man sees me as a threat, we got a problem. I'm just being real.
You are a licensed.
We ain't even talking about that. That ain't.
Gun.
Yeah. I teach people how to shoot guns, but I also was a karate instructor for years. I also did some jujitsu. I just believe, but also let's be very clear. That's also some of my trauma. Some of my trauma response was, as I got older, didn't even realize it. I am not gonna let nobody fuck over me. Excuse me. Can I use those words? Yes, you can. Let me change. I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect me. I'm gonna defend myself. And what I did over the years, first of all, while I have an estranged relationship with my 4 daughters, make sense. I got them in karate. You know why? Because I said, listen, when my daughters come to me, please don't misconstrue. I know I may look a little meek and mild, but please don't get it twisted. My daughters come to me. When you come to me, it's got to be something real.
I don't need you coming to me because some guy said something you didn't like, or he kind of flipped your shirt or something. When you come to me, I know you know how to handle yourself. And when we're talking about handling ourselves, one other thing, men, we've got to get to a place, if we're going to be protectors, that when the women in our family, we need to teach them, hey, don't you go out here doing something to some man. Because see, when a man does something to you, I'm going to get with him. Now you're going to risk me getting locked up or dead because you don't know how to behave. And when I say behave, why are you going up to test the man either? See, man, I'm coming.
Go.
When you talk about as men, as I look in this room right now, I don't think I can look at any of you and say, man, I'm going to just say whatever the hell I want to say to that cat without any repercussions. I know that if I talk crazy, at some point you're going to get with me. Right? Come on, man. Am I right?
Yeah,
You're going to get with me. There ain't none of that, well, no, women can do that all day long. They become a little bit more violent, but a lot of times women, they talk, and the reason they talk to me, I'm going to go get my brother, because they don't really have to figure that. But as men, I know that if I disrespect one of y'all, when we get to that point, that's gonna be on. That's what I'm talking about, man. You gotta be able. So the only thing I may disagree with a little bit. I'm gonna read this book, and I'm sure you're gonna come back. I want to hear what your take on this is. I believe one, you gotta be able to protect. One, you gotta be able to pay them bills. Now I'm coming to what you're saying about table. I believe there is no table. Can't be a table. I'm a grown man. I know the brother said the military vet. I know he said that things are different. And yes, they are. But I also believe Corey Holcomb, he's a comedian. Yeah. And he ruffles a lot of feathers. But Corey said something one day, y'all, and let me tell you, he said, because the commentator was like, yeah, you make a lot of money, don't you? And he said, nah, I make project women money. He said like that, I'm saying like that. But what he was saying, if you listen to him, he's like, I can't afford certain women. Lisa Ray, what she say, why would I get with a brother who struggles to take me out to dinner at a place I go for lunch with my girlfriends? See, we ain't hearing me. So I understand, man. Sometimes we want this sister over her. But well, now hold on now. If she's doing way better than you, you might be out your league, homie. And let's say you got a mouthpiece and you can get now you're gonna be upset. And this is what you're gonna say. Oh man, you too independent. No, you can't manage her. See, we gotta start having a conversation. When you talk about table, ain't no table. I pay all my bills. I'm old school. See, we need a good definition. If we're gonna say God, man, woman, however you define, I'm defining together. God, man, woman, I'm defining, I run this shit. Because at the end of the day, you said something else. You said can't be two masters, can't be two CEOs. And every time someone comes back to me and they say, well, we can show me a functioning business that just past 5 years with two CEOs. You ain't gonna do it. You ain't gonna do it. So at the end of the day, now let's be very clear. When we say we won't, I'm about to you gotta be going, man. When you talk about many men may say, I want a sister to be submissive. Ain't nothing wrong with that. A lot of women say, I want a man to lead. See, the problem, a lot of times they missing each other. You know what I'm saying? I went to Wyoming, trip with some guys that don't look like me, my white brothers. And I'm sitting there in Wyoming, the only black dude, man. We at the table like one of them new Bob Newhart TV shows. You know that long table they eat at? Man, they serving us, man, they bringing us food and everything. I'm like, damn, they treat us like kings. So as we was leaving, right? I'm talking about first time I ever seen a moose just walking down the street, right? A big moose. You ain't seen a moose, man. We need to get out there. We need to get out there and see what's out there, right? You ain't seen a moose in real life. Cause my buddy be like, man, I'll shoot him with a 9. Okay, you ain't seen a moose.
Take a spear with me.
Man. So I'm like, hey, man, I like king. And she says, well, we just love, his wife, my buddy, we just love, serving our dad. But my buddy said, but we give him something to serve. So as men, back to what you said, that 50 years was contingent on serving each other. That's right. And we're supportive of each other. So in that moment when a man says he wants a woman to be submissive, he don't want a woman to be docile. He just wants a woman to be like, okay, I got you. When something happens, I got us. Now here's the problem. A lot of times men ain't leading. Accountability, we've all said it. If you ain't leading, right, how can she be submissive? She can't be submissive. Life getting cut off. You ain't paying the bills. You come home, buy some food, now you're upset she done ate one of your French fries. I know it's trivial, but my point is she don't feel safe. So can't nobody be submissive today. So as I take my seat, when you talk about table, this is what I said. A lot of men get upset with me. See, when you come to my sessions, man, I'm telling you, the beautiful thing about my sessions, one, I make no mistake. I know that at any given time, I may say something that offends somebody. He may not know how to handle it. So I understand that.
You know what I'm saying? I understand that. But I also feel it's my job to be in those spaces. Because I think back to what you said. See, as a therapist, I think some of it is, see, as men, we want to be needed. As men, sometimes we don't hold each other accountable. And a man, I go into this space and you ain't holding me accountable because you want to be soft and nurturing to me. That ain't what I need. Sometimes I need a brother who's listening to me, but also is going to hold me accountable. And in my space, and Joe, you know what I'm talking about. We'll be in my space, brother say something that don't make no sense. I know it don't make no sense. I throw it out to the group, man, what did I hear? Now, you can argue with me all day long, but now you got a group you got to argue with. Now what you going to do? So as far as that table can't be a table in the sense, and I understand there's specific parameters on this, right? If I'm a grown man and I'm paying my bills, why do I need to get with a woman that she can pay half? I'm not saying it may whatever work for work, but I'm saying, and I'm not saying it's a one glove fits all, but I'm saying is right now you have to looking for a woman. Man, what she bringing to the table? You know, she gonna bring half? No. If you didn't hire her, you have to pay your bills. Man. And you want all the stuff that comes with that. I'm done.
Well, Michon, hey, but what you said earlier, Michon, is what I always say: don't tap
what you can't manage. Don't tell what you can't manage. At the end of the day, man, I think sometimes we hurt ourselves because we want certain behavior, but we're not doing the work right to get what we say we want back. So that's real. Yeah. You got me going.
That's okay. Okay. Hey, listen, so I want to make sure that everybody gets heard because I know Diego is itching on this one. He said, man,
yes,
is on this topic right
on
here.
in there, Diego.
So jump in there.
This is my topic right here. Right here is what I've been waiting for you guys to get to.
There we go. It's microphone working now.
Right. I recharged this thing like 3 times to make sure you can hear me. I said to myself, masculinity is this part is what I want to talk about. If Joe can wear that hot ass suit on a summer day, I can get in here with this microphone. You hear me? Anyway,
we got AC in here.
Sean said something right there that I've been wanting to say. So I hear men define masculinity so many different ways, and I respect it. But what he said about, to me, the financial and the physical part, I guess, like I said, I grew up in a house with a father like that. And I believe in that. I believe in working out. I believe in protecting. I joined the military. I'm with Sean on that. And unfortunately, when I talk to a lot of men about financial part, I know everybody's not the same. Everybody's relationship not going to be the same. But unfortunately, the 6 figures, 6 feet, 6 inches, the things John was talking about, I don't see that when I'm around men that don't look like that. Especially men that are in higher financial statuses and stuff. I don't see that. I've lived in 4 countries. I've traveled to 38 total. I've met men who have mental, masculinity, physical, financial, whatever, spiritual. I noticed the women follow what they perceive or project as masculinity. And in a lot of cases, it is a man who just handles business. Not a man who walks up and says, what do you bring to the table as a woman? When they walk and meet me, not to toot my own horn, I mean, Joe let the pistol go saying that I've been financially doing very well for a long time. But I just noticed, I don't like to argue and try to manage women, but I noticed like they have a certain air of respect for certain men, not just saying they don't ever disrespect me. But I don't believe in asking some woman what she brings to the table. I don't need a woman to do that. I already take care of everything when they meet me. My father taught me how to do that without a woman. So when I meet women, I believe they're looking for that. They're looking for us to be a bigger and better package than what they are. And I know a lot of men.
Oh, they want to get rid of messy.
Oh, man.
That's how they do. See, that's how you know you've been big time, man. You syndicated, right? That's what they do when that message start getting out. Chop them off, man.
That's that iPhone charging issue he was talking about. This was that
3 hours. I tell my phone.
His hot t-shirt. Hey, well, look, let's hear Pierre on this one. Then we're gonna go to Dr. Leroy because I know he may want to answer some of what he heard just the same. Go ahead and pull Pierre in on this. How you doing there, brother?
Hello, I'm back. Join the conversation. So the question that John posed was basically the value of a man. How do we determine the value of a man? That's the question. And so first we must understand that value is a subjective concept. It's subjective. Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. We can all look at the same person and we all have different opinions about that person and how we feel about it. So that's subjectivity versus objectivity. So value is subjective. And so it's all about perspective of who, like the value of a man to who, to what culture are we in? To drop a man off in the Middle East, in Eastern culture, and the values system is different there, or somewhere in Japan. So it's really like where you are, right? And so I think you're probably likely talking about like in African American communities, which has a different value system. So that's where you may hear those type of concepts of six this and six that, and it's really nonsense because we all know that really the value is what someone contributes, right? It's your contribution. It's like on a basketball team, right? You take a look at a basketball game. Who's contributing most to the team? Who's getting the more points? Who's getting the more rebounds? Who's getting the more scores? He's going to be the most valuable contributor on the team. So the value is like what your contributions are to whatever it is that we're looking at, right? So if you're talking in terms of relationship, like are a man or a woman, I can tell you there's a man that's in the hood that I grew up in, Mr. Whitfield. Mr. Whitfield is not a six-figure guy, not a tall guy, not a handsome guy, but Mr. Whitfield was a mechanic. He could fix everything, and he had all the women cars fixed in the hood. So anytime somebody got a car, an issue with the car, they would call Mr. Whitfield. You can depend on him because he can fix this. This is his contribution. And I can tell you just on some street stuff, he got a lot of trim from a lot of women because he could fix their cars. They were willing to exchange that to get that car fixed. So what was his value? His value was able to contribute. He was able to contribute, in such a way. So every man is different, right? And everyone is subjective. Some men are more physical. Yeah, some men are more physical, more athletic, and some men are more intellectual, more intelligent, right? It's not about like
Yeah, I bet you Mr. Whitfield could fight.
apologies, I can hear some talk. Yeah, but but anyhow, I was just gonna say, and I try to keep it short, that I think that the value is based off what a man contributes, and that contribution could be in different ways. It's not only financially. The contribution could be like sometimes I get in the kitchen and I cook with my wife, or I cook dinner, and for her that is valuable for her. That's value that you can't put a number on it. And she'll say, I love my husband cooks, steps in and I'm tired, my body's hurting, and he stepped in and he took care of our Shabbat dinner or something like that. That's value. It's not only physical, it's not only sexual, or all those other things. So but I'll just keep it short and let Dr. Leroy go up next. I know he's probably itching, but that would be my 2 cents. Thank you, fellas.
This is on delay. So
Yeah, it's probably on the delay.
I need to hear him there. All right, you there? You there, brother? Where we at on mics?
I'm here. I was just turning the mic over to Dr. Leroy.
Can you put
Okay, I can hear you. I just I didn't want one of the brothers. I didn't know if they wanted me to go ahead. Cause yeah, I'm itching. I'm itching, Pierre. I'm itching to get to this.
I just want to make sure because we there's a delay when you listen to it here.
Right.
So here
It's
is
a little bit more clear. One of the things that I touched on that and I think it's something that Diego kind of talked about when he's around his white counterparts, and that discussion amongst them. They're men, right? This conversation is only amongst us when we hear these words 666, right? And so it becomes something that is misleading. There's actually only two definitions describes a man's value. Those only two. You can add whatever you want to add to it, but you're going to come down to the two. and doing stuff that boys do when girls grow up. So when you said it was unspoken, because it was just in our nature to do that back in those days. And the reason why I brought that up, because you see men today who are very feminized, walking outside with pajamas on, and wearing bonnets. That's the reason why I brought this up, because we're losing it, and they know it. This is what you just mentioned earlier at the start. This is why we have the Gay Pride Month in the setting of the 1 month that we have for men's values, Father's Day and mental health. So it's an attack on that. This is why I brought that piece up. It doesn't just deal with being able to fight and protect, which that plays a role. I'm also a student of martial arts and raised my daughter to be a black belt. So I know that role right there. I don't want my daughter to tell me some stuff either, because if I have to get involved, boom, it comes a different ballgame. So, but the masculinity is extremely important, because here's why. For men amongst ourselves, let me tell you something. When men walk into a room, and it's a room full of people, women and men, you know what most men look for first? He's looking for an enemy or a foe. He ain't looking at the woman. First thing he's looking for a threat. That's masculinity, period. Right? And that's to keep your back, watch your back, and keep. When you in the hood, you better be in the hood with some masculine energy. You down there. In order if you want to survive. If you went to prison, you better go in prison with some masculine energy. You better not go in prison with some feminine energy.
Come on now, John.
So masculine energy is extremely important. I don't care how you twist it, but it doesn't mean that it takes away your intelligence, because that's a part of your ability to do what? To solve problems. Yeah. If you can't solve problems, what are you worth? If you can't gather resources, what are you worth? The man's ability is know how to gather resources. How you gonna make it out here? You gotta find a way to gather resources. And when the more resources you gather, you have to solve problems, right? Those are the things that really defines masculinity men, right? And we're losing that because we are so willing to dismiss it in these young men today. Young men today, hey, they'll fight you over the easiest thing. They're very much like women. They're very emotional, get upset easy. They don't know how to place that emotion inside to where when we were growing up. Hey, I grew up in the 60s, okay? So when I was coming up, you tell a boy, he's in the football game, he's boxing or whatever the case may be, and you see the little boy, he get hit, he's getting ready to cry. What the dad do? Man, get your ass up and get back in there, boy. What do mama do? Hug him. Oh, baby, you got hit. You see what I'm saying? So masculine energy is extremely important to raising boys. It doesn't neglect intelligence. It doesn't neglect none of those things. But it's extremely important to have that piece that you have attached to you. And where I have witnessed, I grew up with a dad. I had a father. I had a mother. And I understood his role by just looking at him. I saw more of what I learned from him by watching his movement than he taught me with words. How he moved 2 or 3 jobs, how he took her home every day, didn't hang out. He was a family man. Those things describe masculinity, right? And so that's the piece there that I was really getting at about the masculine energy. Because understand this, the opposite of masculine energy is feminine energy. And we know what that looks like in a young boy, feminine energy, right? We know what that looks like.
Can I speak on that? So I'm very grateful to be at this table, especially because there's a lot of well-researched, well-experienced knowledge that's being thrown up. I feel like it's perfect for me to be in this room because I may not have the degrees behind all the knowledge, but one thing I wish I would have brought a couple of my youngins in here just to attest to it. But man, what you said ain't even debatable, and the reason why is because it's absolutely true. I play a role in my community that I don't shy away from. I don't post about it. It could be a huge thing if it was for anything other than literally just creating and harnessing true men, right? I mentor boys, youth. I call them men, but I have been in many scenarios where I was called. So for instance, I play a role out there where if something happens in the community right now, if somebody threatens one of the youngins that's in our squad, it's under my protection, it's in my family, they will call me no matter whether they come up with the rocket launcher, whether they come up with a hand grenade, whether it's a girl that just slapped them across the face and said, I'm going to get my brothers. They call me not because I'm the biggest bullet that they can shoot, but because I can solve the problem and I can provide wisdom, right? I don't, when they my first response isn't, oh man, where they at? No, it's, well, tell me what happened. Okay, now, why were you in that position? Okay, now, do you think you've gone about it in the smartest way so far? I bet let's just slow it all down. There ain't nothing to be stressed about. Oh, don't be fearful about that. You go ahead and send me his number. You sure? Well, he's the biggest gangster we know in the hood. Go ahead and send me his number, and I guarantee the outcome will be great. I'll give y'all one specific story real quick. I with Wayman, I was living in my dad's house right when I moved back to Louisville from Ohio back in 2024. Actually December 2023, but 2024 was really when the youth mentorship started going crazy. At this point in time, I had a large respect in the community, but there was all these new cats coming in from the East End over to Victory Park trying to stir some stuff up, right? One day, my youth, I'm hanging out at my crib. One of my youngins runs down to my street, runs down to my house. He knocks on my door. My dad's in there asleep, so he's a little pissed. He's like, man, get that door. They woke me up. I'm like, I apologize. I come out disturbed. A couple of youngins. They're like, man, they coming after us. Who's coming after us? These dudes from out blah, blah, and that. Well, all right, bet. That's all I needed to hear. Right? I'm not going to ask any more questions. When you placed into the battlefield, that masculinity becomes not a choice, and you're going to be drawn out. The proof's going to be in that pudding right there, and you don't want to be weak. You want to understand that you have to have not just the ability to defend yourself, but sometimes you never get the chance to defend yourself if you didn't have a voice to stop the bullet that was about to come at you first. And so I walk out the front door and I look, and he wasn't lying to me. There's a grown man with a ski mask on his face, and then a light-skinned individual walking with him, and they both toting their weapons. I'm shirtless, got basketball shorts on, but I knew one thing, and that's that my youngin ain't gonna be hurt. I'm gonna protect any and everybody that I said is under my protection, that I care for, that is living an honorable and character-driven life, right? And so I stand in the middle of the street. Before they even get within a house distance of me, I say, hey, y'all got an issue with one of my family members. I said, let's just nip this in the bud and have a conversation right here, right now. They ignore me. So then I take it a one step further and I start walking towards them until I'm right in front of their face, watching them grip and hold their guns and everything. And I started to speak. And I said, so y'all had stolen one of my youngins' bikes recently. I didn't take it any step further because I've been handling a lot of work, but I'm glad that I get to be face to face with a man. Even though he's a boy, because if you're willing to steal from a kid, you're a boy. Sometimes you got to acknowledge and tell them what they are. Just like a woman who's carrying herself like a peasant. Well, thankfully, I get to be in front of a queen, and so I'm gonna speak to you like that. You tell them about, you put them on the platform that you want to actually speak to them from. I've had about 18 scenarios that were very similar. A gun violence drawn up, a problem in front of me, and the thing that fixes it isn't that I'm trained with weapons, isn't that I have great experience with boxing, isn't that I know some martial arts, isn't that I have all of these street fights under my belt. It's none of that. It's simply that I know how to use my masculinity, right? Whether it's in front of a boy, a man, a woman, a police officer. My youth in the community that witnessed police tried to apprehend me physically before for a wrongful thing. And I used that same masculinity, saved my own freedom, and gave my youngins an understanding that nobody has power over your life if you are in the right. And so that same arm he tried to grab, I showed him my strength, right? I just said, you're not actually going to detain me, sir. And then I hit him with the law, and I hit him with what wasn't going to happen. I say that to say, I've seen it. I've trained it. There is nothing that, not a single one of my youth has died, and I've been doing this for 3 years. That is a lot to say in Victory Park. I know these youngins' brothers, their neighbors, their old enemies, and I've seen people drop like flies because they didn't know how to solve a problem. Masculinity is necessary and it is life-saving, but gone about in the right way. It's all about that definition. Masculinity can't mean something that is just foolishly strong, something that is just too bold to ignore. No, it has to be a precise, intentional thing.
And obviously, from hearing you out, it's not just about the physical.
It's not.
It's not. There's a
intellectual,
whole lot of intellectual, mental stuff that goes into being masculine, right? Because what do we always say? I mean, the reality, I mean, when God created man versus women, then in a sense, we talk about women are more in tune with their emotions. There's time and place
Yes.
for that.
Yes,
And
there is.
especially as a wife, then, you know, she brings something to, I don't want to say table because it might, you know, Sean. But you know, she brings things to that relationship with her emotional side. Like, I remember my dad said something one day. He said, "I might not always do everything your mom suggests, or you know, going to a meeting. Where I might not always, but her words, her wisdom, brings caution to me. Now I move a little more cautiously because of what she said. So, you know, things like that are very important. So I want to get to somebody, number one, that we haven't heard, and then I want to swing back to Dr. Leroy, but we're going to be wrapping up soon. And it's obvious, and I knew this from the start, that we're going to have to do a part 2 and probably all the way up to a part 18. It's going to have to be a series. So we're just going to have to make this something that we do on a regular. I don't know. Maybe there's a Monday organization where men get together and do talks and kind of that. You know anything like that,
Yeah,
Brother Gardner? Like, you know,
Yeah, I know something.
yeah, maybe
6
there's
to 8,
something.
17th Street.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, so that's right. We got an office now,
Got an
right?
office now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know, because I was sitting here thinking, I was like, man, I probably should have been asking Brother Yah. Could have had a space, but you know, we'll talk about that again. But Brother Kari, you know, in reference to any of the conversation we've been having here just now, I would love to get, you know, your take. One of the things that I love about your story, and hopefully you don't mind me speaking about this, but you know, you within your household, you focused on being at home. I think you spoke about this publicly before, and you focused on being a stay-at-home dad so that your wife could go out and get her degree. And then after she took care of her degree, it was time for you to focus on business or what have you, or things for yourself. And that's an interesting dynamic, and I think it's great, and I think it ties right into this conversation. But if there's anything with that you want to speak to, then we'd love to hear you, bro.
Yeah. One thing we talking about masculinity and being men. At what point do you become a man? I had my first child when I was 15. So at what point do you become a man? Because the girl that I was having the child with, she was pregnant when I was 14. So what point do you become a man? What point do you start protecting? What point do you start providing? How do you do those things? Is it an age thing? Is it a character thing? So that's the question I ask in that situation. But I was raised in a 2-parent household. My father was originally a gangster. That's what he was. Drugs, women, whatever, in the household. I'm a Muslim, but I never knock any other way of life, especially not Christianity, because that's what I saw turn my father's life around. Right? What works for you works for you. That's your road to success. And so when we talk about, I heard a lot of what people were saying. When we have these conversations, we have to listen to each other. When we talk about the opposite of masculinity being femininity, and I was speaking earlier about how these things are marketed to us. These are put on us, a lot of it. So that's how I identified where my space could be, because they are marketed to us, and that's the things that happen. But anyway, I want to get back to the question of value for a man. I don't know if my value as a 14, 15-year-old, what I had to be a man, is the same as it is today. However, it was my foundation. So where are we building our foundation? Be men, mentorship. You're doing therapy, right? How much mentorship did we see 15 years ago? How much therapy did we see? Black men having mental issues just popped up somewhere,
right? Yeah.
In the last 10 years, maybe somewhere.
I credit Charlemagne.
Yeah,
he was big
Yeah.
in releasing that and speaking to therapy in the Black community.
Yeah.
I think it was important.
Yeah. I have a 34-year-old and an 11-year-old boys.
You in there?
The way I raised my 34-year-old and the way I raised my 11-year-old are completely different. So when you talk about when I decided to be an at-home dad, I wasn't at home for the 34 or the 27. I was doing whatever it took to be that provider, protector, gain wisdom, and all of those things that we say. So anyway, my wife comes from a different culture. She's Moroccan. In Moroccan culture or in Islamic culture or in some African cultures, the wife, the female does not leave her father's home until she is being married off. Period. Some of them, if they decide to leave their father's home before they're married off, they are written off. Okay? So, culture. When my wife came to America, she only came for me. When she moved here, I had a 6-figure job. I wasn't even worried about business at the time. I had been in business and out of business and taken a job at the time. So I had a 6-figure job. We decided to have a child. She wanted to go back to law school, had already finished law school in France and was told she had to go through it again in America. She valued me very much. And showing, she went through law school, did everything she had to do to obtain law school, very high ranking in her class and all of that stuff. And she wakes me up. I'm waking up, ready to go to work. She wakes me up. She said, nah, the deal was you don't go back when I finish. Call them and quit. There is no table, right? It's just a relationship. We relate to each other and we move. The ship moves. We relate and we move, and that's it. So all this comparison, masculinity, I don't wake up every day and tell myself I'm a man. It's just natural.
It's natural.
It's just it. I don't wake up every day and tell myself I'm a father. Just wake up and do it. I don't wake up every day and tell myself I'm a husband. I just wake up and do it.
Yeah.
Right. So we throw these titles out there and and they have, they have a meaning. They have some, but we throw these titles out there, man. We're not thinking about this stuff. We're just waking up and doing what we do, what we know to do. So being a man, I'm just doing what I do. That's why I was born. I was born a man. Some people believe they wasn't born men that are men, but I was born a man.
That's just because they done had too much plastic in their life. But that's a whole nother conversation.
So, I don't try to get deep on that, man. I came here really to listen. I ain't the smartest guy in the room ever. So I don't try to get deep on that, man. I'm just saying what I feel, what I know, and that's it.
Let me ask this question that's very important. You mentioned something that about when you mentioned this discussion wasn't had back in the day when we're talking about emotion, men's emotion. So it wasn't really something outwardly talked about. What we men, we keep our emotions covered. Correct? We really don't. We just kind of be hard about it. But is there something innate going on with men dealing with trying to survive out here that creates that depression that these young men are going through when they commit suicide? How do men deal with depression?
Well, I know we were waiting on Dr. Leroy to jump in.
Yeah, let's hear Dr. Leroy and then we can do a roundabout.
on that question right there, Brother Leroy. How do men deal with depression?
Yeah, can I go back to the value real quick, and then I'll
Hold on 1 second.
and then I want to get to the depression, because I think that we as men have had difficulty with dealing with depression. But I want to get to, and dealing with depression has to do with the value that we hold in ourselves. And here's the thing about your value. Your value is not, should not ever be determined by exterior things. Social media, what society thinks of you. Your value is determined by two things. The foundation of your value is determined by two things. That is your identity, which we've talked about today, and your purpose. When you deal with that, your value from inside out, there's no one that can define who you are and the value that you have. So you got to be secure in yourself first. You have to value yourself first. My value, your value. Brothers, write this down. Everybody that's listening, I need y'all to have this. Every brother that is here on this panel, that is listening to the show, you should have what I call a PVS, your personal value system. Those are 5 to 7 core characteristics, things that you believe in, that you do not move off of. I gave you mine earlier when I talked about wisdom, when I talked about vision, I talked about uniqueness, commitment, consistency, excellence, and accountability. Those are my PVSs. Every decision that I make is based on those seven values that I have, because it makes my decision making easier. Because if the decision that I'm making does not align with any of those things that I say that I'm going to be and hold myself accountable to be, it's a no. It is a no. So, and that's my identity, and my purpose are tied to that. So we as men, specifically as black men, have to have a personal value system. That's the first thing. The second thing that gives me value, it isn't where I am, it is who I am. I don't care if I'm from Compton, California, if I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, if I'm Detroit, Michigan, if I'm South Beach. My value system is my identity, who I see myself as, and the purpose that I have been put here for, and understanding those two things. Here's the last piece for the values, y'all, that I'm gonna give you really quick, and that is what I call my I am statements. Every single morning, I wake up saying, I am a centered man. I am a leader with clarity. I am building my legacy daily. I am wealthy, and abundance flows from me. I am the architect of impact. I am greatness. I am chosen, and I am a revolutionary. That's my value. Every single one of us must carry that within ourselves before we even deal with anything that's outside of us. When you have that, then that's the value that you have, and that will be that masculinity that I hear everybody here talking about. That's masculinity. And for a woman, it would be femininity, having those same values. Now, to get to the depression piece that you mentioned, how do we as men deal with depression? Here's the problem: we don't deal with depression. There are too many of us, and me and those that I call my circle of impact. We talk about this all the time. That there are too many men out here, specifically black men, that do not deal with depression, because we've been taught since we were little boys that little boys don't cry. You're not to be emotional. You all have said it here tonight. Women are more emotional than men. Or no, they're not. The problem is we allow ourselves to suppress our emotions and not express them, because we feel as if it's going to make us look less masculine, or that we're going to be seen as vulnerable. When we begin to deal with depression in the way that that we should deal with it, then we will not be the leading people committing suicide. Black men, and I believe it's black men specifically, but I know it's men. lead in suicide. Why? Because we're holding our emotions, we're holding and not dealing with depression the way that we need to be dealing with it. It's like, and I use this example all the time. If you shake up a Coke bottle, right? So a soda can. If you shake it up, right? And you open it, what happens? That soda is going all over the place. That's what happens when you don't deal with depression. When you hold it in and you hold it in and you hold it in, and finally there's something that forces it to be released, and then you, as they say, you bleed all over other people, over everyone else, causing chaos within other people and the destruction of of who you are as as a person and as a man, but then your family and those that are around you become they become those that get impacted the most by it because you chose not to deal with it in the way that it needed to be dealt with. And we've got to understand that we are in crisis as black men and dealing with this with our depression because we're not emotional enough and we're so afraid to be able to talk about things, and we need to be able to talk about things whether it's with you need to have somebody. There's a number of examples that I can use that we've seen in the news that have happened over the last year where we have had seen black men who have not dealt with depression, and as a result of it, it has caused either their life or someone else's life because of it. And we've got to stop this thing of women that we're not emotional creatures. We are, we just suppress it and don't deal with it versus women who will talk about it ad nauseum about it and they don't even deal with it the right way as well either. But until we begin and understand how to correctly deal with depression, whether that's going and getting help from someone or going to being a part of an organization. And I know several organizations that deal with this, that assist men with dealing with depression, where you can come and it's not a secure place, it's a courageous place where you can come and you can talk about what's going on because this real world thing will eat you, chew you up, and spit you back out if you don't deal with depression in the right way. So I'll leave it at that. But we've got to get real about how we deal with depression as black men. And with that, I turn it back.
Going back to another one. And counsel like a gym trainer, you got to find one that fits you. And then the medication bias. So you can go and get evaluated. And black men, I think sometimes black men are challenged and struggle with you took a step to get there, go seek counseling. Then you got the evaluation. Now it's time to get the medication. You can't get the medication uh, because of the classification, and they see you as somebody who's going to sell drugs or use drugs, right? That's a problem in itself. And then the other piece to it, and this is what gets really murky. You're still a man. Like there's still a level of expectation that comes with being a man, and we've talked about it, right? You just can't get around it. And some of it is you still have to maintain a certain level of understanding of how the world exists. So as much as you want to get out there and you want to share with the world what you're going through, you still got to make sure that you're in a safe space, or you're gonna get clobbered. And I think in the past we go to church, but somewhere in there I think there became a disconnect with church. Um, then you got, we're finally getting to the point where we do mental health, father issues, father support. I think that's one of the first times I actually would say I saw it bring men together as fathers. They say black men weren't fathers, and then that myth was debunked in 2008. And then barbershops. I end with barbershops. Barbershops have, and I still believe, hold a really safe space for a lot of men to go have those conversations that you don't necessarily see someplace else. You see a guy come to barbershop, and you just hear it. And those barbers, a lot of times, your barber is really a therapist.
That's facts.
Like if you listen to that barber talk, So I just want to add to that.
Let me add to that piece. So it's not really necessary. You need a licensed therapist. What you may need is just a mentor.
Well, I would say this.
Someone to talk it out.
Well, let me hold on, but let's not dismiss the value of somebody who knows what they're doing. You don't go to school and get licensed and do all these hours not to know anything. So, for example, how do I apply that? So, let's say narrative theory. I may have a guy that I'm talking to, and the way he's talking about what's going on in his life, we have to re-narrate it. Let's write this down. What's the story behind what you're saying, and then get an understanding of it. So it's not necessarily that it's just looking for someone to talk to. It's also at some point you need someone you can talk to that has the tools and the understanding of what you're going through. So, okay, let's attempt this. It ain't that I have all the answers, but you should be able to talk to me in such a way that I listen to you. And this, okay, this is what I'm hearing. Okay, hey, what about this? You open to this? And we just talk. So it should be those tools that you get from a person who's licensed.
I agree with that. My question would be, when you're in the battlefield of that depression, though, I think there's a better first step, and I would say it's more in alignment with having someone to share with. I'll share a quick story, super quick story. One of my most recent and honestly one of my most severe feelings of depression was pretty recently. It was actually Father's Day, right? One of the big, most hurtful statements ever said to me was by the mother of my child, that I wasn't a well enough father to deserve anything from her for Mother's Day, and and then these other statements that kind of just complimented that, and that hit me so damn deep. I ain't felt something like that before. I'm enraged. I'm like, you got no idea, woman, how much you just hurt me. Like, it's got to be a demon in you to be able to say that to me. You know how hard I work. That means everything I did is for nothing, right? The only thing that actually made me smile again and mean it that day. I live out in Old LaGrange Road right now, close to the Prospect. I wasn't gonna spend time with her, obviously, and I just needed some time. So I go to the park. I'm like, let me just spend time with my youth, man. Let me just go pour into somebody and hoping that I'll catch something myself. There's this new dude I met named Calvin. He's like 23 years old. He's sitting on the bench. He's on the phone for like 30 minutes while I'm there. Everybody else shooting around. I'm talking about this tournament we just hosted. It went great. And then I'm like, Calvin, what's going on, man? He's like, bro, my baby mama, she's just driving me crazy. Like I'm doing everything that I can, but she's making me feel like I'm nothing. And I'm like, dude, hold on, stop. Do you know that's the thing that drove me crazy today? Like that done had me hurt and actually she said it the day before Father's Day. I'm like, that done had me hurt for the past 2 days, man. Like I thought about doing some crazy stuff of how that made me feel, man. It made me want to throw everything away. But that got quieted when I realized that I wasn't alone in that, for one. But then two, it gave me strength while giving him strength. While letting him know that this ain't who you are, bro. This ain't, it shouldn't be able to pull you this far. That actually started to pull me up some. And it was also like, it was like a paradox, because there's this part of me that's like, nah, but you better feel hurt off what you said. And then there's this other part of me like, shoot, if he's being beat up by this same monster, you better fight back. Why you gonna get beat up by what he's getting beat up by? If you know it's actually targeting us, let's fight back. So I think it's important too that if we don't have the ability or we don't know the direction to take with that therapy, start with your brothers, man. Start with just don't stay inside here and don't stay inside your home. Go out and then let that, you know what I mean? But I'll leave it with that.
You use your testimony to help someone, that you realize that, like, when we go through things, the ability to set aside what we're going through to support someone else will help us get through what we're going through. You went through a little bit of attention with the mother of your child, right? And that's a whole other conversation right there, right? The feeling being invalidated when you know you're present. But the other side to that is you say, okay, let me step out of this. So you took action. And when you did, you see somebody else going through it, use your testimony, you felt better. Yes. And it sounds like you help support them as well.
Definitely, 100%.
I want to hear that. One more thing, I just want to ask, just go around the table. What's the one thing you could do to improve your life? Just name one thing. What's the most of the one thing? Everybody just kind of share that. What's the one thing you could do to improve your life?
Get better at balancing business and home time, for me, to be honest. Like, that's it.
Take care of yourself more. Self-care.
Yeah. I want to say something different, but man, Yeah. I think the time that we have for self is so invaluable right now, especially when you're business owners, family life, and all these other things that you have going on. So self improvement is always an effective feature.
Any of the brothers online want to answer that real
let's,
quick?
let Dr. Leroy. And
And
I
we
would,
can close out.
personally, just for me, I would piggyback off self improvement. That's important. I know easy if you're working a job and trying to do business at the same time. It's easy to fall into a rut to where you're just content with that job, and you got all these ideas, all this other stuff you want to do, but you just fall content with that job and your motivation. Jobs are the most draining thing ever in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and let me add this real quick, Joe. And I'm not talking self improvement for the world, because when you start mentioning jobs, we do get better educations, do other stuff to make it better, for provide for our family, to be better at our jobs or get promotion in our jobs. I'm talking self improvement just for the self of you and maintaining you.
That's real.
Because we get lost in this stuff.
Anybody else you want online to answer that?
Yeah. Dr. Leroy.
Where can I get that book?
Telling that. I mean, that's
Okay.
Can't hear you. You're muted, Doc.
I'm sorry, I'm sitting there talking and I'm muted. I'm sorry. But no, what I was saying is the one thing that I would say that I would want to improve would be increase my mental my mental mindset. My mental mindset. When I increase my mental mindset, and that's on a daily, then I'm able to handle the challenges that come about daily, but then also the mental mindset, increasing my mental mindset gives me the ability to be able to gather resources that I need and to be able to do the things that I want to do personally, but then also to be able to positively impact the people that I have an encounter with on a daily basis. So that would be mine.
Became material. So if you can imagine that, then all you can do is imagine yourself as a better human being. Just imagination, just the imagination, the God-given power to imagine. That's what you see around you. Everything you see came from someone's imagination first before it came into this reality. Well, guess what? If you can bring this material, you can do the same to yourself. The problem is that we don't imagine anymore. So if I was to ask, who's your future self? Who are you in the future? That's your imagination. How do you see yourself 5 years from now or 10 years from now? We're lacking just one thing, the imagination. To improve yourself is the number one thing you can do to set your life. As what you see around you is something that your life projected. You just don't know it's projected because your life was built with a lot of information from when you was a child to where you are now an adult. You are actually, with your subconscious mind, if you don't control it, you're bringing reality to you. It's not something that you are in this environment and you pooped up. No, actually, controlling your thinking is the most important thing. The other issue is there's a thing that I like to call, and that I studied, that's called noise and signals. Noise versus signal ratio. What is the noise? The noise is all the shit you hear, all the music, the television. If you on YouTube scrolling, all these things are noise that's distracting you from being who you want to be. Most of us follow 90% of noise. Let's follow signals. This is why you see wealthier people that follow signals and people who follow noises at the bottom. What is the signal then? The signal is the God-given talent that you are given to share with humanity that you're not working on. Think about it. Is there something you should be working on? Is there any room for improvement? You have to say yes. There's have to be. You're never at the top. There's always room to improve yourself better, but it starts with your imagination. Who do you see yourself as? That's what changed. That's what my thesis and writing is about, is my imagination and how I proved myself by thinking myself better than the environment that I was in. You know, no matter what your condition is, if you begin to use that imagination, the projection is that the world, the universe will show up. The number one thing you can do is improve your imagination of yourself. But the problem is that we're listening to things that don't give you that value to work on. Again, we're listening to noise and we're not listening to signals. Noise versus signals ratio, you can Google it. Most people follow noise. That's why they're not successful. I would ask anyone, what are you working on? What's your project? How many hours a day are you working on that project? Or how many hours a day are you working on? How many games do you know? How many players you know? How many, what's the score point? Who's got the most points in? You got that in your brain, then you are not listening to the signals. You're too busy listening to the bullshit. And this is where we get the problem, is we're too busy listening to noise and we're not focusing on the signal to improve ourselves and improve our condition. Everyone has a talent to share with humanity. What product are you working on? What are you working on to bring out of your brain into reality so you can share with humanity? That's the question. And that's the question what the doctor talked about, legacy. What are you leaving with your imagination that you can build? That's the question.
Man, that's absolutely amazing. And honestly, as you're talking about it, I'm sitting here thinking about one amazing thing, and it's we're sitting into right now. We're sitting, us brothers are sitting in what was once in your imagination. Correct. You know what I mean? This is things that you thought of that you invented and brought forth, and it started here. Everybody has the same opportunity to do that. So if there's one thing that just a roundabout as we close out here, one thing that you can tell any brother out there who feels stuck, who feels like, you know, they're just not getting ahead, they don't have the value, what's one thing that you can tell?
Change your perception of yourself. That's why you're seeing what you see. Change your perception, it changes. If you think low of yourself, that's what you see. You think yourself is weak, that's what you'll see. Yeah. You're going to see whatever you think of yourself. So raise your perception in your imagination. Imagine you somebody else than what you are now. Break the cycle of being in this circle because it's repetitive. Because what you think is what you believe. What you believe shows up. And then on top of that, you will collectively bond with everybody who thinks like you. So it makes your belief real. Get it? Yeah. The perception. Man, I appreciate you for
Great
coming,
to meet
brother.
you, man. Very good to meet you, brother. Let's connect.
Are you going to send out a list of everybody?
Yeah. So as we go ahead and close out, then I just want to make sure that we're definitely, I don't know what the camera's doing.
What's the camera?
But we definitely gonna have to do a part 2, 3, and I'm sure we'll get better. You know, we knocking some of the rust off, coming back to the internet, doing this podcast thing, and we're definitely gonna have to bring some of this back out. Brother Leroy, I want you to just let people know where they can find you, where they can find your book, and speak on that real quick, please, before we go.
Sure, absolutely. They can get the book or from they can order it directly from me at my link tree, which is it's http:// link linktr.ee /JNF Enterprises, or they can shoot me a message, shoot me an email at JNF Enterprises LLC at gmail.com. Either way, and I will send them they can order an autographed copy of The Power of a Man. Thank you so much. I want to thank you, brothers, Faith, Family, Finance, and Future. Thank you, brothers, for having me on the panel. This was a great conversation, and I appreciate you all saying that there needs to be another conversation about this because we can't talk about it enough. We need to. We need to as men. We need to as black men because the miseducation of us as men has really has to be addressed. And so I appreciate it. And if anyone didn't get the information, I can put it. I guess I'll put it on the Facebook page as well too in the comment section, the link where they can go to as well. So I hope that'll help as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna close this out. So yeah, that's I think DRLJ Speaks on Instagram. That's actually where I met him, and I met him this morning. He actually hit us up yesterday through some of the advertising that was being done, and went and looked at his page and said, "Man, this brother's right on time with what he's doing, what he's talking about." So that's Dr. LJ Speaks or DRLJ Speaks on Instagram. So with that being said, folks, we are just gonna go ahead and close out. We're definitely gonna have to do a part 2, and we'll see when that comes about. But nonetheless, brothers, it's been a great conversation. Glad to have you, and glad to create this platform, and really hope to get all of you guys back for part 2 of how to be a man. What does it look like to be a man in today's world? So we'll talk about that soon. And folks at home, we will see you another time. Once again, it has been the Tipping Point Morning Show. Peace.
Awesome.
You are listening to The Tipping Point Show with your host, Mr. Just Ask Joe, John Yeah. You ready? Streaming live all over social media and on your favorite music and podcast streaming platforms.
Yeah, you know what it is.
Also, check out thetippingpointshow.com. The Tipping Point Show.
I don't even know what's going on. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are you guys kidding me?
I appreciate it.